Lead together, embrace change, enhance everyone's journey. The 3 core principles of SmartStop, a leader in self-storage real estate across North America, reinforce why we're proud to bring you SheEO Lead-In, the podcast featuring curated conversations with powerful women sharing their impactful wisdom. It's a self-knowledge, self-discovery, and self-preneurship audio storage vault created by and for women. SmartStop's presentation of SheEO Lead-In begins right now.
Have you ever felt that you as a woman may not appear to measure up when you see incredible women in strong roles? You may be surprised when hearing from women in these positions and how we all share many of the same challenges. Thank you for joining us for the SheEO Leading-In podcast with Rebecca Jones as we share the journeys of women.
Hello, I'm Rebecca Jones, your host of SheEO Lead-In. We are on an exploration together to discover more about the personal journeys of incredible women in both career and life. We all have paths to share that sometimes take incredible turns, deep resilience, and courage to navigate. My hopes are that the challenges shared here encourage women to take leaps of faith and growth when a journey feels too difficult or unachievable. There is great strength deep within each one of us. These stories are meant to share the ways strong women have taken their dreams to strive and thrive to new heights, despite their sometimes rocky paths, and found a way to lead in.
Welcome to the SheEO Lead-In podcast, hosted by Rebecca Jones. I am not Rebecca Jones, however, I am sitting in for her. My name is Kristen Fogel. I am the executive director of San Diego Writers, Inc., and the co-host of another Cloudcast show, Spotlight on the Community with Drew Schlossberg. But more importantly, I have a very special guest with us today. I would like to welcome Pamela Gray Payton. She is Vice President, Chief Impact and Partnerships Officer for the San Diego Foundation. How are you?
Hello, Kristen.
Hello.
Hello. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you for being here. I'm so excited to chat about all things you and leadership and get to know your journey and anything else that you want to talk about along the way.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
So let's kind of start with your current position and then we'll kind of work backward, if you will. And
Sure.
It'll be so much fun.
Sure.
So tell us a little bit about the San Diego Foundation, just to start us off.
Well, I have been with San Diego Foundation for 4.5 years.
Okay.
It started in June of 2020 during the pandemic.
Okay.
And so I will be the first to say that for the first several months of my time at the foundation, I didn't know what the foundation did because what I was focused on, and so were many of my colleagues, is our COVID Community Response Fund.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, helping our organization collect resources from donors, partners, both private and public, and then use those dollars as quickly as we could to get out into the community and serve folks who had been adversely impacted by the pandemic. So it took some time before I realized, what do we do when we're not responding to a pandemic?
Right. Which was, though, I cannot underscore her, super important. And the reason that I know about the San Diego Foundation is we both live at Liberty Station. And so, you know, I look at your emails and see all the great work that you do in the community. And that was so impactful. I felt like you were probably one of the first organizations to kind of respond in that way. And so it was really great to see that from the foundation. So thanks for leading that.
Yeah, thank you. I was actually in the process of interviewing for the job when the governor shut down the state and did not know what would become of the position, which is Vice President, Chief Impact and Partnerships Officer. However, I saw Mark Stewart, our CEO, on TV one night talking about this COVID Community Response Fund and the fact that the foundation had contributed significantly, that other donors such as SDG&E, Cox Communication, Bank of America had also come in and made significant contributions to the fund, and that those dollars were being pushed out as quickly as possible to nonprofits that were serving the community. And I thought, that's what I want to be a part of.
Yeah.
An organization that sees the needs in the community and immediately moves to act to serve and to support the community in the way that it knows best.
Yeah, the foundation is kind of truly a leader in San Diego. Okay, so pandemic mostly aside, now what are you in charge of in your role?
So now I am responsible for all of our programs that are really intended to support community nonprofits addressing the needs of our region. We are an organization that believes in just, equitable, resilient communities. And doing so means that we have to be very intentional about where we are going to make investments in the nonprofit community organizations who are serving folks in need. So we focus a lot on health equity, educational equity. We focus significant resources and have for many years on the environment. And then we're really starting to move into a space where we are looking at economic equity and how do we ensure that San Diegans who are least from opportunity have access to jobs that will allow them self-sustaining wages.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's a lot of good work there. And then you came to the foundation from USD?
I did.
Okay. And what were you involved in there? And tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I joined USD in 1997, so I was there for a total of 24 years, I think just shy by a day.
Okay.
And served, when I joined USD, I was the Director of Community and Government Relations, and over the course of 24 years, wore multiple hats, but many of them, or most of them, were always in the community and government space, as well as communications, marketing, that kind of thing. Really, the external relations, making sure that the university was engaged in the community as possible, and that we were opening the doors to the university and inviting the community to be a part of what is really a wonderful institution.
Yeah, and USD is beautiful and fabulous and does such good work in the community as well. So two amazing organizations. I want to back up now just even further to the very beginning. So let's take it back. I want to talk a little bit about your upbringing. Did you grow up in San Diego?
I did.
Okay.
My family is
one of the few.
Yeah. Well, I was born in Texas, the small town in northeast Texas called Paris. For many years when I was a kid, and someone would ask where I was from, I'd say Paris, and I just made assumptions, and I never corrected them.
Not lying.
I'm from Paris.
I'm going to correct them. Yeah.
There's an Eiffel Tower with a giant cowboy hat sitting on top. Absolutely.
Oh my gosh, I got to go.
I saw it this past summer. It sits right in the middle of town. But my parents and I are from Texas, and so my father had joined the Navy. And Mom and I came to be with him at some point, maybe a year or so after he had been stationed in San Diego. So I grew up here, went to school in San Diego, secondary school, went to college at UC San Diego. And then after college, left San Diego for a while to return to Texas, but I moved to Houston, a much larger city where I kicked off my career in Houston. And then for a number of reasons, weather being one of them, family being another, I came back to California and started building my life and my career and my family here in San Diego.
Yeah, and it's an amazing city. I've been here 15 years, but it feels like home. It's such a wonderful place. Let's go back to San Diego again, and here's something I didn't tell you when we were chatting before being on there is that I'm very, very jealous of you because you won a Girl Scouts Cool Women Award this year.
I did.
And I love the Girl Scouts. Did you get an opportunity to be a Girl Scout or be a part of all that?
One of my favorite memories is being a Girl Scout in San Diego. I grew up in East San Diego, or actually East San Diego. I went to a school called John Marshall Elementary. Okay. And I remember my Girl Scout leader, Mrs. Hamburger, was my Girl Scout troop leader.
Mrs. Hamburger was your Girl Scout troop leader?
She was my troop leader.
Oh, I love it.
Yes, so I have pictures of me in my little brownie uniform and when I graduated to be a junior Girl Scout. Fast forward, as a mother, I wanted my girls to have that same experience because I just see such incredible values being taught as Girl Scouts and exposing them to all kinds of different career opportunities, camping, independence, building their independence and their confidence. So when my girls were young, neither of them had Girl Scout troops in their school, and I decided to kick them off and started troops for both of them at different stages. My youngest daughter, I think we were a troop leader for many years because I had girls, we were the only troop in the school, and it was a school that went K through 12. And so we had lots of girls in every different stage. And I stayed with them for a long time until my daughter said, okay, that's it. I'm done. I'm done with scouting. Even if you want to stick around, I'm done with it.
There comes a time. Yeah.
There came a time. So I was fortunate enough to be invited to serve on the Girl Scout board here in San Diego. And I did that for several years and continue to be an advocate even to this day for the great work that they do and how they're just developing all of our young leaders. Oftentimes when you ask a woman leader today about her scouting experience, she will tell you that she was once a Girl Scout.
Yeah.
And it never ceases to amaze me, the women who have that in their background.
It's just such an amazing organization.
Yeah.
And it does really say something. And just all the skills that I went until I was a junior. I think I was with the Scouts for like 8 years. And they're just so incredible. Here's a quick aside that Charles, who's in the room, our CEO of Cloudcast, will appreciate. Right before I turned 40, I was having kind of like what do I do with my life now? And I found my old Girl Scout book. And my project that I was trying to do that I haven't completed yet, was I was going to do 40 Girl Scout badges before I turned 40. So I started working on them. And I learned some stuff. And it was great. Like a dad was blogging about it. But I have to say, from this perspective, it's so rich. There are so many things that these girls are learning. And, even as a slightly older person, to be gained from it. So, again, that's my aside. And
If it helps, once a Girl Scout, always a Girl Scout.
Right,
so
right.
It's not too late to complete those badges.
I'm going to figure out something else, like 40 before 45 or so. I don't know. I'm going to make it a thing. So it'll happen. So do you still serve on the board of the Girl Scouts?
I do not. Okay. That ended a few years ago.
Okay. Yeah. But you were a cool woman. And yeah, I think I saw that when the e-blast came out and I was like, these are some cool women. So I didn't know you at the time, but I did flag you. So I was like, yeah, that's a good choice.
Yeah.
So.
And I had the incredible good fortune of being assigned a young Girl Scout who was my mentee throughout that experience, who is a phenomenal young lady. She is a future leader in science, and it was just an added benefit to being selected as a cool woman, having a young woman assigned to work with me throughout that experience.
That is very cool. So let me get this straight. So when you become a cool woman, they assign you a mentee as part of that process. Okay. How fabulous for her, that she gets that experience. I wonder how they choose, like out of all these amazing Girl Scouts.
I think they have an opportunity for the girls to apply. Girls are chosen to participate, and not everyone is assigned to one of the 4, I think, cool women that were selected this year. But we had a chance to gather with all of them, and it was a great experience.
Yeah, that's so amazing. Yeah. I think I'm doing a writing workshop for the girls in October, like a holiday theme or what have you.
Oh,
but
I love it.
Okay, I could talk about the Girl Scouts all day. I do want to get back to kind of your, being young in San Diego, and where did you see your career going? Were you always passionate about education, or where were you at when you were younger?
It's such a great question. I was just discussing this with my husband earlier today, and how we talk a lot about children and young girls in particular being exposed to all the different options, the career possibilities for them. And unless you are exposed, it's hard for you to see yourself in some of these careers.
Absolutely.
And so I was one of those girls. I didn't have a big vision for myself as a young woman. I knew when I got to be a senior in high school that I wanted to go to college. I didn't quite know why. I think at some point I thought, I want to be a judge, because I understood the important role that judges make in our society, but didn't have a plan of how I was going to get there.
Yeah.
And so pursued, went to my counselor in high school and said, I want to go to college. And he said, well, you're not college material.
Oh.
I thought, well, what is that?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay, what does
Tell
that
me
mean?
more about that.
He told me I wasn't college material and that there really was no path for me to go to college. And I thought, well, that can't be true. There must be. So let me figure it out if you're not going to help me.
I would have found Mrs. Hamburger and had her kick him in the you-know-where. I mean, that's awful.
But it happens.
Yeah.
It happens even today.
Yeah.
You're not seen as the priority student that they're looking for, that they assume colleges are looking for.
Right.
There's no surprise here. You see me, I'm a Black woman. So at that time in the early 80s, that wasn't part of the trajectory that my counselor foresaw for me.
Yeah.
So we were able to bypass him. I did take his advice, though. I went to an ROP course that he recommended. I learned how to be a cashier. I went to work as a cashier in a department store, and with the resources that I earned there, I was able to pay for college. So I went to UCSD, earned my way through college as a cashier, and couldn't wait to get back to my counselor, who had then retired, to show them, that I had done something with myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So what did you study when you were going through college? I
was a communications major at UC San Diego with political science and English as my minors.
Nice.
Yeah.
I remember growing up, I went to a college prep school, and like the worst thing that they told me, like, you can't be a communications major. It's done just fine. Like it was, I know lots of lovely people who have communications degrees, so I don't know why they were all telling us not to go down that path.
I wish more people had communications backgrounds.
I know,
we wouldn't be experiencing a lot of the challenges that we have today.
Absolutely. It's literally applicable to everything.
It really is.
Yeah, for sure. And then after college, did you start to see a path for yourself? Did you fall into something?
After college, I have to think about it. I worked in politics for a little while, worked in media for a bit, and decided that what I really wanted to do was be in higher education. So I found my way to the university. What struck me about the opportunity at USD was there was this beautiful beacon on the hill, this gorgeous campus, and I had never once stepped foot on this campus. And I thought, how is it possible that this incredible institution with all of its many strengths sits right in the center of San Diego, and students like myself had never visited?
Yeah.
And so I really wanted to help the university lower its walls so that it could be a more inviting space and have more people, children in particular, from the immediate community on campus to experience the many, many wonderful attributes that it offers and to see themselves as potential students there. It saddened me to have this beautiful campus with all of its many wonderful academic programs sitting in the middle of campus, but it could have been in China because it was not accessible to the kids who were less than a mile away. And so I wanted to help lower the walls and bring those kids to campus and help them not just aspire to get there, but have a path of how to get to the university.
Yeah, that's amazing. I've never really thought about that. Yeah, it is kind of this beautiful foreboding. And I mean, I'm sure it's a lot different than it is now. But how interesting you went with that goal. And yeah. So talk to me a little bit about, you've already talked about menteeing with the Girl Scouts and things like that, and you have kids. What sort of leadership advice are you giving your kids right now, particularly your daughter who finished law school not too long ago, right? Right?
I have two daughters, one who is a lawyer, and then a younger one who graduated from college in 2023 from UCLA. It's a different world today. And what I have tried to do as a parent and as a mentor and as someone who is leading programs at the San Diego Foundation is to create opportunities for kids to have access to their dreams. So wherever you see yourself, having a pathway to achieve that goal is a priority to me and to our organization. And what we are really striving to do every day is ensure that doors do not close because you're not prepared. So how do I help children? How do I help young adults? How do I help moms be prepared to access those open doors or to push those doors open because they have the skills and the qualifications that are necessary to be able to achieve whatever that dream is?
Absolutely. I want to stop there, but after we take our quick break, which I just rolled right through, I want to talk about maybe some of your mentors along the way and, how you keep yourself kind of invigorated in this role, because burnout's a real thing and some other things along the way. So, but first we're just going to take a Smart Stop and hear a word from our sponsor.
SmartStop knows the winning connection is when we elevate success together. SmartStop Self Storage, a California company with nearly 200 properties and over 15 million square feet of rentable storage in the US and Canada, is committed to positively impacting the communities we serve on the national and local level. By aligning our core principles of leading together, embracing change, and enhancing everyone's journey with local initiatives focused on education, health, and social welfare, we all elevate together. Through financial and strategic partnerships with nonprofits and prestigious organizations such as Cloudcast Media, Arrow McLaren IndyCar, Breast Cancer Research Foundation, Wounded Warrior Project, USC Athletics, the Brampton Steelheads, MMA fighters and boxers, and other unique athletes, we aim to foster a sense of unity and pride within the communities we serve, creating a shared identity and generating a positive atmosphere. To learn more about our core values, our locations, and career opportunities, please visit us at SmartStopSelfStorage.com. SmartStop, elevating success together.
We are back. We are at the SheEO Lead-In podcast. I am filling in for Rebecca Jones today. My name is Kristen Fogel, and I'm here with Pamela Gray Payton. She's the Vice President, Chief Impact and Partnerships Office for the San Diego Foundation. So we were talking about you menteeing, we were talking about your daughters and how it is such a different world now, cannot be understated. But tell me a little bit about some of the people that inspired you along the way. So maybe looking back to the start of your career, even in college, you know, who inspired you? Who were your mentors?
You know, my favorite mentor to speak of is my mother, Bobby Gray. And my mother, when we left Texas, she had $20 in her pocket. And we hopped on a train in Dallas, Texas. So she had to get us from Paris to Dallas, which was about a 2.5-hour drive. We get on a train bound for San Diego, not knowing how to contact my father. My father didn't know that we were coming. We arrive in San Diego days later with her sharing the fruit that she'd packed along for the journey with me. And we get to San Diego. We're at the Santa Fe Depot train station. Somehow she finds a way to reach the ship that my father is on. Fortunately, It was in port, so it was in San Diego. And she says to my father, "We're here." And my father says, What do you mean?" And she explains that the two of us are now in San Diego waiting for him to come and get us so that we could begin our lives in San Diego. That woman's resilience, her strength has always inspired me. She has shown me time and time again that regardless of the odds, that there's always a way. And I believe that. And so I carry that in the work that I do, that it's not for lack of access for me, it's a lack of vision. And so I am constantly challenging myself to see the vision, to build on the vision, to strengthen the vision, so that the doors that have opened for me can be opened for many people to come behind me, many young women in particular behind me. And that is how I am inspired every day to do the work that I do. You know, I caught the vision late, if you will. I raised my children. I worked throughout that time, but I raised a family. And then finally, when I got to the university, actually to the San Diego Foundation, that's when I really began to see clearly what I felt my purpose is. And that is creating opportunities for others. And so I work every day to try and ensure that young women have, one, people like me to see, to inspire them, roles and role models to help them create a vision for themselves, and then help them chart a path to get there. And not be deterred by it's hard, they don't want me there. That's okay. It's not. That's not.
Bobby took you all the way here without knowing how she was going to get here, or how to contact your father, and all that. You know what I mean? Like
all of the things.
Yeah.
You know, there is no reason for our young women today to not see and realize their potential. And that is what I hope to do every day, inspiring the young women that I work with, and young men as well. It's, you know, certainly anyone who is trying to better themselves and better society. We need all the great leaders that we can help create in our community. And I try to inspire them and try to help build that future for a better tomorrow.
Yeah, I love that. I want to kind of, you know, touch on something that you talked about, how, you raised your kids and you kind of came to the vision a little bit later in life. And I'm always curious people's perspective on this. As someone who has a young child and is also, trying to have a career and all of these things, do you think that we've struck this balance? Like, can women do it all? I mean, are we the same as men now? Are we just expected to? I mean, talk about, the challenges or not of working mothers today,
In my case, I became a single mom when my children were very young. They were 1 and 2. And I decided there was no stopping us, that whatever I needed to do, they were going to be there with me.
Yeah.
And so my children were very involved in my career. They were involved in the work that I was doing in the community. And it helped, I believe, them to see themselves in a way that is different than I suspect many other young children might view themselves. They were interacting with adults very early.
Yeah.
They learned, etiquette. They learned how to carry themselves. They had a level of confidence in themselves because of the conversations that we were having in preparation for a lot of these meetings. And my older daughter and son met every elected official ever in San Diego when they were kids.
Wow.
They met lots of celebrities because of the work that I was doing and the interaction that I would have with folks who would come to San Diego as part of something happening either in higher education or in other roles. And so I have never seen being a single mom or a working mother as a disadvantage to my children. There were some sacrifices that were made for sure, but I absolutely think that in my case, it benefited my children to see their mother working, to see that, we were in this together, that whatever I was doing was to benefit them.
Yeah, I love that. That's such a great answer. And I'm thinking the way that we parent, my kiddo Declan, I mean, he's constantly at my work functions in the writing world, and his dad who's at the fleet, and being exposed to both those interests and adults, like you say. We just had a fabulous poet that I want to, shout out, Gil Sotu. He's like the best spoken word artist, I want to say San Diego, but anywhere. And he, was like, can I come with my 3 kids to the thing? And, me and his youngest are just drawn on the floor. I'm like, yeah, because this is what it's supposed to be about,
Right.
He's sharing his art and, his soul and his work about them. So, yeah, he just made me think about that and how I thought that was so beautiful that he was bringing them into, the both worlds didn't have barriers. So I just love that.
I see a lot of value in our children being exposed to all the people, all the things that we do, obviously, that are mentally and physically healthy for them. But my kids have no regrets about any of that. They remind me of many of the stories. So they do remember a lot of the events and how Saturdays were supposed to be for rest, but off we were going to the next event. It's like, that was your norm.
Right. But they got you too,
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, what is to regret if they have you? I mean, that's so beautiful and powerful. I want to talk a little bit about when we're thinking about leadership. What would you say your leadership style is?
I empower my colleagues to bring their best ideas, their dreams, for the roles that they have at San Diego Foundation, and I will support them. I believe in empowering people. I really recognize that all of us are smarter than one of us. And so I really believe in the power of collaboration and partnership. And that is what I am trying to instill and encourage in the colleagues that I work with. There are no bad ideas. Let's look at the challenge and what are the answers to the challenge, and let's never be okay with it's not possible.
Yeah, absolutely. I saw something that I wanted to flag on your questionnaire, and it's this Black and Genius initiative. So I wondered if you could speak a bit about that.
In 2022, I met with the Dean of the University of San Diego School of Leadership, School of Education, Leadership Sciences. She was new at the university at the time. And we were sitting down for lunch over the course of lunch, I recognized in her this incredible human being who had great knowledge and about education and about the challenges that kids, particularly under resource communities, were experiencing in school. And together we built this vision for something that would serve children who were part of that community here in San Diego. I had lots of data around how Black kids in particular were not performing well in schools, how they are disproportionately expelled from school or suspended. And as a result, there is that prison pipeline, that we needed to interrupt. And so Kimberly and I sat down and over the course of lunch gave birth to this idea of a program that would serve the very kids that I mentioned earlier, find a way to get to the university. And so the Black and Genius Initiative is now a program that is working with youth starting at 6th grade. They're on campus for a couple of weeks every summer. From that point forward, they're on campus at least once a month where they are being loved on and supported by the faculty, by students at the university, and really empowered with knowledge and skills development to help them be successful in school and to help them see themselves as university scholars. And once the kids get to seniors in high school, they apply to the university. The university went a step further and said, we will support these youth when they graduate from high school. If they choose to come to the University of San Diego and they're accepted there, the university will meet 100% of their financial aid need.
Wow. Yes. Yes. That's incredible.
When our first night, all of this happened in the course of a day, 2 meetings and in the course of a day.
Hell of a day.
And that night I went to sleep and cried because what we had created is going to change lives. It's already changing lives. Yeah. We're on our second cohort now. This current cohort has 69 students in it. These 69 students, along with the 60 from last year combined, are part of a cohort that will eventually get to 420 kids who are enrolled in the Black and Genius Initiative, and every one of those kids will be ready for college at the University of San Diego or wherever they may choose to go. And I believe that we are creating transformation in schools, in homes, in communities, certainly in the minds of these young scholars. So I'm very, very excited about this initiative.
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, you could just retire now. I mean, that's so incredible. Yeah. I mean, it seems like you've done a lot already. Do you see going further with the program, or what are kind of some visions you have for the program? Obviously to sustain it.
So sustaining the program, we kicked it off with the $1.5 million grant and have supported it annually since then. There's a second piece of it that we'll be announcing very soon, but it is a center for, it's CEEN, CEEN, for implied equity in neuroscience. And what it focuses on, which is so just genius, is a lot of teachers, a lot of educators do not have the tools to support every child in their classroom. Kids learn differently.
Yeah.
And if the student is not sitting in their seat, they're not paying attention, they're whatever my original perception of what a good child looks like, this child's not meeting that, I'm sending them off to the principal's office. Maybe the child just learns differently.
Yeah.
What do you have as an educator to support that learner, wherever he or she might be? We want you to have the tool set, the skill set to support that child however they learn best. And that is what CEEN is going to create. It's going to be a space for educators to expand their skill set, to recognize neurodivergence in the classroom, and to support the neurodivergent child so that child can also be successful.
That's so important and amazing too. There are so many neurodivergent children to serve. We're just starting to get into the weeds about what that means, how to best serve them, different ways it shows up, all of that sort of stuff. So I love that you're wading into that sphere. That's incredible.
I am really proud of that work. And I think, not only will it benefit the students and the educators who are with them, but parents. Oftentimes parents don't recognize difference in their own child. Absolutely. And so they don't demand the type of support that their child needs. And if the child is not performing well, it may not be that the child is a bad child. There's something else going on with your child, but if you're not aware of that and you're not able to identify that, you're not going to get and demand that child gets the support that they need.
Well, that's so important too. I think that we should be approaching all children not with, are they behaving, but like, what is this child trying to tell me
That's
right
right.
now?
That's
So,
right. That's
yeah.
right. But our system isn't set up that way.
Yeah.
And so our goal with SEEN is to help educate folks across the spectrum on that very thing.
Mm-hmm.
What does that child need? That child is unique. Every child is unique.
Yeah.
What does that child need? How do I support that child's growth?
Yeah, that's incredible. So if people want to learn more about SEEN or about the Black and Genius Initiative, where should they go?
The University of San Diego has a website, and if you just type in Black and Genius Initiative in the search, it will take you there. Or you can sandiego.edu/BIGI.
Perfect. So I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I saw in your questionnaire just these 3 lessons in leadership that you had. So I want to kind of read them off, and then maybe you can take one and just talk about how important it is. Maybe the last one, because I like this one. I like them all, but I like the last one especially. So you say never settle for less. That's a good one too. I don't even know. All of these are great. Never settle for less. Believe in yourself and be ready to do the hard work of preparing yourself for success. And then 3, laugh at yourself. So maybe take one of these and tell me about why that is so important.
Let's take laugh at yourself.
Let's do it.
We need more laughter.
I know.
I think we, particularly women, are expected to have it right all the time.
Yep.
And that's just not possible.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get it right some of the time. You're always going to do your best. And if you're doing your best and you fall short, it's disappointing sometimes for sure. But how do we turn that disappointment into an opportunity to learn and to do better the next time? And to laugh about the silly things that we thought were important, but haven't allowed us to get to where we're going, because we're not done.
Yeah.
We're not done. We are incredibly powerful, resourceful, smart, resilient, and our communities, our society needs us in leadership roles.
Yeah.
In every sector.
Absolutely. I love that. We need female leaders in every sector. You
Every
heard
sector.
It. Yes. Thank you so much for taking time to talk to me, to be on the SheEO podcast. Your wisdom and your journey is just wonderful. So thank you for sharing that with us today.
I enjoyed the conversation. Thank you.
I'm so glad.
Yeah. Thank you very
Great.
much.
We will see you next time on SheEO.
Now that was powerful. We hope you've been lifted and encouraged by today's inspiring voice. Always remember that life doesn't look exactly the same for each one of us. Never stop dreaming, striving, and thriving. In future episodes, we look forward to bringing you powerful stories from amazing women who learn how to lead in to challenges. Thank you for listening and being part of our community with SheEO host, Rebecca Jones.
The incredible curated SheEO conversation you just enjoyed was brought to you by SmartStop, a leader in self-storage real estate and a company that upholds its core principles of leading together, embracing change, and enhancing everyone's journey. To learn more about SmartStop, please visit smartstopselfstorage.com.
Cloudcast Media.